In this video, we're going to look at the call to action, a very simple but extremely important part of your website that's often overlooked. The call to action is something that's very straightforward. In fact, it's simply a clear invitation to take the next logical step when a visitor is engaging with you or your website. So instead of me talking about it a lot, why don't we just go to a site which I don't have an example of one. So I googled top CRM software because I know that's an industry that's very competitive and they'll be doing a great job. Pipedrive was the company that came up first in ads. I've actually used Pipedrive before. It's a really nice, straightforward customer relationship management software, and I know they've been in business for a long time and know how to do this stuff. So in looking at it, try it free. That is their call to action. That's what they're inviting you to do. And if we scroll down, actually, no, I'll leave that for now and we'll come back to that in a moment. So jumping back into presentation, the big question in terms of the call to action that you're going to ask your visitor to take is what makes sense. And really it's interesting because there are tons of people that we see, they come on board as clients and they're totally set on asking the visitor to do something that the visitor is not ready to do. It'd be like asking somebody to marry you on your first date. And I'll give you an example. We work with a lot of law firms, and there are a lot of law firms that what they really want from a website visitor is for that visitor to book a free consultation so that they can discuss that visitor's legal issue and sort of along the way convince them that they're the best firm to do the work. Now, free consultation, that sounds fairly low friction, like why wouldn't someone do that? Well, you know what? Most people, for one, are intimidated by lawyers. Second thing, they're probably just starting their research process, or at least they may well be starting their research process, and they're looking at a few lawyers, and that's probably not the thing that they're ready to do. And between those, and the last thing, of course, is that a visitor knows that, hey, if I have this free consultation, they're going to try and sell me their services. And a lot of folks, especially in a situation where they might not be ready to commit and they might actually be intimidated by lawyers in the first place, they're quite possibly terrified of the idea of having a short call and then having to sort of have a sales pitch thrown at them. So in that case, the intersection of what the law firm wants and what the visitor wants is not overlapping. I mean, it is sometimes. For instance, maybe the person is coming back to the website after reviewing all the other websites and thinks that this particular firm is the one they want to work with and get in touch with. At that point, sure, they'll book a free consultation. But for a majority of visitors that are there on the first visit, just not going to do it. Absolutely not. So that's an example where for our clients in industries like that, we've suggested ditch the free consultation or make it a secondary call to action. Have the main call to action be ask a question. And that's something where what we found actually is that when those barriers are lifted, when you have something, a call to action that says something like ask a question, we know legal matters can be challenging. We're here to help. When you do something like that, that's very inviting and put it out there that somebody's welcome to ask a question, guess what? A lot more of them do than actually book a free consultation. And what we were surprised at too in that example is that lots of folks would fill in actually way too many details about their whole situation, which is almost the equivalent of that free consultation. They totally give enough information for the firms to know if it's somebody that they want would have a good fit with, and so they can actually temper their responses with that in mind. I mean, they should always answer the question that's asked, even if it's not a potential client. But then they know, whether to add some more levels of detail and suggest that we'd love to discuss your challenge a bit further. Would you like to make a call? And we often find that works, well, actually, basically always find that works better than having, again, a call to action where that intersection does not exist. Moving right along. Another thing is, and I've fallen victim to this in the past, because you kind of think that, oh, if I give somebody lots of choices for what they want to do, I'm giving them better service. It's more likely that there will be something that they should do. But you know what I discovered in when I was working in companies where I did huge volumes of testing, that doesn't work. Essentially, the less choices, the better. And basically, if you're arguing that do this thing right now, this is the best single thing there is that you could do right at the moment, you can't have two best single things. Like, there can't be two best offers or two best call to actions. It's really, and of course, sometimes you can't avoid having, you might be aware that you have different types of audiences visiting, so you may need to have more than one call to action, but definitely limit choices and focus on just one if possible. Another thing to do is to ask often. And again, it's always obvious to us as the business owners and site managers that, like, oh, hey, yeah, of course we threw it out. We invited them to take action. We have that call to action. Why would we keep peppering it throughout? But in reality, if somebody's scrolling through your site, you want that call to action always to be close. Maybe I mentioned always visible here, maybe not always visible, but you want it to be close. Let's have a quick look here back to Pipedrive. So here's an example. There's an example of a secondary call to action. It's the login, because they know that customers are coming too, so they have to have that invitation for the customers. So we've got our try it free call to action. Scroll down a little bit. They've got lots of great information. And oh, boom, try Pipedrive free. Same invitation, but there's been some more information. Somebody might now be ready for that decision. And it's absolutely been proven that if it's front and center, they are more likely to do it. Okay, moving along. They got a lot of information on here. This is great. They've got some FAQs, some more information, and oh, hey, try Pipedrive free. So again, just having it once or at the top is not good enough. And you might even ask, well, hey, they've got it here in the top navigation. Why the heck do I need it anywhere else? And the answer for that is people actually don't really look at the navigation in the top bar anymore. It's like the table of contents in a newsletter. It might be there, or the index, but you never look at it. So this top navigation, unless somebody can't find something that they know is there, unless somebody can't find something, this area is likely to be invisible. And at the point where they're lost on the site and don't know where to go, that's when they look to the menu bar. So I hope this was helpful. Hopefully you'll think a bit about your call to action, think about making sure it's prominent, and figuring out exactly what the most logical actions are to invite people to take on the different pages of your websites. Because of course the call to action may well be different depending on what page they're on. We'll see you on the next lesson.